Thank you for hanging out with us. It's been a couple of weeks, but it is your old pals, Cash and Shram. That's right. It's another episode of Derby Rocks. We know you've been pining and waiting, sleepless nights, lots of tears, I'm sure, but we are back. Hey, Cash, how are you,
Hey,
buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. It's good to be back. It's good to do
Yeah, do the thing,
this
right?
love of ours.
It is a labor of love, that's for
Yeah,
sure. And
yeah.
I do love when we get together. I know it's not as frequent as it used to be. I mean, man, without fail, we went 8 years or whatever it was without missing a week,
Yeah.
and I know we're a little bit more relaxed with it now, which is good. But yeah, it's just been so busy. I wish I had a better excuse, but we're just working,
Yeah.
raising this baby over here, and I know you're busy. You're picking up extra shifts and doing extra stuff when you can.
Yeah. It's that and yeah, it's and nobody wants to hear Cash talk for 59 minutes. Okay. I'm pretty sure.
I
So
mean, it's
it's
just
like
a lot to do by yourself.
yeah.
I'm not gonna co-sign you putting yourself down. But I will say that like I just don't know if I could talk for that long. I mean, I'm sure I could. It wouldn't be any damn good, but I could do it.
It's like the kids. I last year I ran the morning show, which was it's like a YouTube style show that do the morning announcements, and it was like as long as there's a script on the teleprompter, those kids could go for 2 hours. Soon as the script stops, it's like
Sure,
it's
it's
like
like Ron Burgundy, when
yeah.
the teleprompter goes away, they're
Yeah.
just whatever happens, happens.
But I'm a big mouth. I can talk about things that have nothing to do with roller derby.
Yeah, I would definitely find a way. Like I
Yeah.
said, yeah, it's just not going to be any good.
Yeah. I agree. I agree as well for me. So, but yeah, but we're here and we're gonna do some derby talk
Yeah, we're
today.
gonna we're gonna talk. We've got some derby going on. I know you got some good derby stuff coming up. We've got some good derby stuff coming up with Flower City Roller Derby.
Yeah.
So we're gonna definitely get into our weeks and talk about that. We're gonna have somebody on the show. You're gonna hear a great repeated interview. Maybe potentially somebody from Pittsburgh because we have Steel City coming out this way
Yeah.
soon next weekend. And then Flower City is going to Pittsburgh at the end of the month. So we're doing a little bit of a swap. But yeah, so we've got a lot of Pittsburgh adjacent things going on. So you will likely hear an interview from somebody from Steel City or Pittsburgh Roller Derby. So stick around for that. We're going to touch on WFTDA regional playoffs, lots of regionals going on. Cash, we're going to talk about you taking off. You've got your schedule. We're going to ask some questions about that and see what shakes out on the first day. We are going to talk about expanding WFTDA playoffs and a lot of the chat. I know like Red Stick had a really great showing coming in third. Unbelievable, amazing showing for a team, one of these small teams. I read a really awesome post that one of the skaters from Red Stick put out, talking about expanding the playoffs and things like that. So I think we'll definitely touch on that.
Yeah. It's interesting because different. Yeah, I was gonna say different playoff weekends or different North American West, North American South. Some of them have more weight than others. The one I'm going to this weekend only has one team going on past the tournament, so it makes it so much more important to
Yeah. I
win the
mean,
whole thing.
and right. And I mean, it's really tough because you're going up against what, Montreal, right?
Montreal, Queen City. We've got
Yeah, I
Orlando
mean, don't get me
playing.
wrong. Like I love our friends in Queen City and we support and have friends on some of the other teams. But what, Montreal's a top five team, right? They're like pretty well up. Maybe not this year or something like that, but they've been up there pretty
Yeah.
recently and done really well in some postseason.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, there's some teams coming from the West Coast too. Santa Cruz is coming to this one this weekend. Angel City will be there.
it's
Calgary.
just it's so weird. Like why? How does Santa Cruz end up in
There's some odd. I'm sure there's some
league?
odd teams out. When it comes to putting together, the tournament. And so some teams have to travel a little bit farther. The last weekend was the Lansing neck, and that had three teams that came out of it, and that was a fun tournament. I saw from the scores and everything. So there was, yeah, it's tough how you seed it, and how, I mean, then you have to split the United States in half, and you have the southern half and the northern half, and
Sure, yeah, it is tough, and with so many teams and now, B teams and so on, it's really hard to, I'd say, do it appropriately.
yeah,
Not to disparage WIFTDA or, how do you handle it? What is there? There's like 700 sanctioned teams now or something like that. You know what I mean? How do you handle that many teams
yeah,
equitably too, how do we give Red Stick, the team with 40 members from Butthole, Texas, or wherever they're from? Not to, I'm sorry that I don't know, but like, how do we give them the same opportunities as Dallas Derby Devils?
yeah, that and then you have the West Coast teams, you've got like Rose out there and
Sure.
all
Yeah.
those Los Angeles teams, and it are
Just
the California teams. So
yeah.
yeah, it's tough. It's I think thank God there's bigger brains than mine that have to do that, because I wouldn't have a clue. And it's like it's all exciting because it all is coming down to a championship weekend, which is not for a while, but it's
Yeah,
it's
not till like November, right?
yeah, there was people I saw also talking about maybe we ought to do the Division 2 teams, instead of having all the teams in the pool, have just do a Division 1, Division 2, and that was very successful the last time they did it, but they haven't
Yeah.
done that in quite a while. So
No, I think it was absolutely reasonable to have, D2 teams because you get, a little bit more of some of these like bigger teams, but still maybe not like necessarily like the best teams, you know what I mean? There were times where like Rock City Roller Derby was nearly included in the conversation based on rankings and things like that for D2s and stuff like that. So,
very
I think
close.
it
Yeah.
gives it gives it gives those teams an opportunity to look forward to something, not to, you know, talk poorly about any other teams or anything like that, but it is a similar experience that I want to say like our team or some of these smaller market teams like, and I don't know, and I'm not gonna lump Cleveland in this because they're having their own separate issues. God bless them, I love them, but let's talk Flower City. So Rochester, a relatively small market. We've always had a hard time recruiting. We've always had a hard time doing blah, 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 blah. So we're borrowing from our WIFTDA teams in X, Y, and Z. So then, like, if there's ever a conflict, because we're their secondary team, some of our WIFTDA skaters are always going to take their WFTDA team first. And I totally understand that. No problem. We get it. But that's just like one of the issues that some of these smaller teams face. And then we have people who simply want the opportunity to play higher level derby. So they will literally drive past us 6 hours to go to a different state, or will go from Canada to a different state to go play with these teams that have these other opportunities, but only because they're bigger teams and who can draw bigger people now. So it's like cyclical.
Yeah.
So we're always going to be towards the bottom, like we're not magically, this group of individuals that we have isn't magically going to like elevate all of our skills all at the same time. And this is not to say that we are not a damn good team with damn good individuals, but when there's super teams in our region,
Yeah.
how are we ever going to leapfrog them or have any, modicum of success when we can't get like the ball rolling?
It
And
seems
it,
like in a post-COVID world, that's been what's been happening in MRDA. I think that's what like a couple
yeah.
of years ago, it was Denver,
Yeah. So very cool. You have 100 members and four teams,
yeah,
but you don't have teammates to play unless you want to travel to another region of the country.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't necessarily have the answers. I'm obviously I have my feelings based on the things that Flower City is experiencing and so on. So it is, particularly frustrating and like a pain point that I absolutely feel, when we're lucky to be able to field a full team, we're lucky to be able to afford a home game and we're probably not going to have one this year. And again, I understand that now I'm talking about me, but it's not just a me problem. It is a we problem, and
Yeah.
I am using me as an example. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a tough situation to be in, and it's tough to continually want to do it year after year when like, short of completely revamping things or hoping that loads of people suddenly become interested in Rochester, there's really no like, how do we crawl out of the hole?
Yeah. No, it's a difficult situation. And I'm hoping that, now that we're a couple of years out of COVID, that maybe things will get back to normal and things will start to,
Well,
we
and,
saw,
and I think they have, and I
yeah,
think it's just it's certainly a regional problem.
yeah,
I think the cost of venues in our area also makes it really difficult. We
yeah,
can't have more than one practice each week, and then another problem is because we're borrowing so many people. We rarely have practices that have more than 12 people. Like 12 is like a dream, you know what I mean? This past week we had 8, um, and we have to hope like we can kind of do like lines and things like that, but we have to hope that nobody gets hurt or needs to leave early or something like that. So
oh yeah, yeah, it's,
I don't know. It's just, we want to we I guess I would also ask, like, for the people that want to expand, how are we going to, and this is, another issue, but how are we going to expand officials and training and paying these people? So what? WIFTDA playoffs in a lot of cases are already, 2 full days, 3 full days in some cases, depending on the number of teams, you know?
and the
That,
interesting thing is a lot of the same people are doing a lot of the different playoffs too.
sure,
So
100%.
yeah, so they're
I mean, if you just look at our region, or the Northeast specifically, if you look at these other events and so on, how many events have we seen? Our friend Scarsby, like a GTO or a head NSO or something like that. How many events in 2025 and 2024 was Brady the head official or the head NSO at or GTO? You know what I mean? So we're seeing these people, expend a lot of resources
yeah.
to provide stuff for other teams essentially. So
Yeah, and even Dredd too. Dredd's
yeah, I
Dredd.
mean Dred's all over the place now.
Yeah, he was in
Um
Lansing last weekend.
yeah,
He's gonna be in Waterloo this weekend.
yeah,
So
and he's kind of switched to NSOing in a lot of cases, I think, which is fantastic. He is like a dual certified official, which is unbelievable. And Dred is somebody that we are so very lucky to have in our area, but
I,
also like how many like they're similar to players, they're all paying for themselves.
yeah,
So are we just going to continue to let officials pay for like high level play by themselves and continue to use their credit cards and blah blah blah? And I know it's like they get stuff out of it too, but we can't talk about expanding, and we have to expand from the bottom, I think. And maybe that's the wrong way of doing it, and maybe more powerful teams will just kind of convolute everything and make it a bit harder, but it's also like, when does it stop being fun to play the same teams all the time?
I get it. Yeah, it's interesting because I think that one of the I was going to mention a second ago. One of the I think now that they're classifying the levels of officials now again, which they had held off on doing for quite a long time. That's kind of maybe keeping some of the officials interested because now they can,
Yeah, there's something to strive for a little bit
yeah,
more, most definitely. Yeah,
yeah,
I see that.
they can level up and stuff. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is going to be a taxing year. We'll see it when it gets to the end of it. Like what happens because it's like we have to either that or recruiting's got to be better. Who knows? I mean, it's a deep thing, with roller derby
Yeah, I
anyway.
mean, it's not a great, like, there's not a pill for every organization that we can take and have it be solved. There's not like a one size fits all solution. So I don't know. We just keep struggling. I will say there's also instances, and this is another thing where I'm dealing with is just the lack of support. And I kind of, made a post about it recently in our internal messages about how like, if we don't continue to put work into it, it's not going to happen. But I can't do it myself, and I've done it for years and years and years. So I'm offering like the end of the year to kind of um, encourage people to get on the board and so on. But I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out. So if you're listening and you're wondering how you can help your teammates and so on, the answer is literally do anything more
Yeah.
than what you're doing. Come up with an idea. So, for example, I've had people ask about like a home game. Okay, well, has anybody had or done anything to do fundraising? I designed and purchased shirts with my own money until the team could pay it back and so on. And it's just like, it's always a thankless job. And I feel like I'm just kind of like letting it out now, which is probably an inappropriate time to do it. But it's also very important that like, if you're unhappy with how things are going in your league and you want them to be better or different, give it a try. Go try and change it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Remember when there was just four of us on the board,
Yeah.
in the first couple of years and we all were doing everything, you
Yeah.
know?
And I mean, it hasn't really gotten much better, if I can say so myself. So, I appreciate my board, but we just don't have a ton right now, as far as like active things happening and so on. So
That's another thing that gets
tough
hurt
spot to
also
be
by
into.
it's another thing that gets hurt by people playing for multiple teams too is, they can
Yeah,
play for other
spread too
teams, but
thin, or they have, this, that, and the other thing going on, which I absolutely understand, but we need the help, we need the support. So
so that's what we got to work on for next year, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, it's a crazy time of year,
yeah,
and
it's just a tough
I'm
time.
sorry that you feel so much pressure because I know you can't do everything, right? And it's like that, you
You
know,
are not
and
wrong.
you try too, and then you just realize you can't do everything.
Yeah, and then that's when like the burnout and stuff happens too. You want to do it, so you try, you get burnt out, and so on, and it's just, it's like a revolving door. It's real cyclical, if I'm being honest. So it's a rough time,
Yeah.
but I don't know. There's always a lot to look forward to. I will say, the competition at all of the playoffs and things like that have been amazing. If you look at some of the play for MRDA at some of the most recent tournaments as well, the competition is really great.
Yeah.
We're seeing teams that beat teams last year come back and kind of reclaim their power, or whatever, however you want to look at it, their domination. So it's going to be a fascinating end to the year, especially with we've got like the huge tournament coming up. We've got MRDA and WFTDA going on in
Yeah.
the same weekend in the
Do
same
they
building.
do they call them the NAQs again? Is that what they were calling them?
Yeah, we're having the North American and or what, not North American. Are they doing North American? I forget what it was called, but yeah, we've got the qualifiers
Yeah.
essentially this or whatever. Or Hemisphere Cups, right?
That's what it was. Hemisphere. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like the East and West Hemisphere Cups or whatever.
Yeah, in lieu of a very, very busy MRDA year, they're not going to do champs. They're just going to do the cups.
I believe so, because
Yeah.
that saves the one set of teams typically from having to travel to another continent. So
Yes,
I
yes,
think
which
that is the thought behind not having champs every year, but then every other year doing like a cup. So that way they're still teams being recognized, which is great, but it's not quite so much burden on teams. So,
I was thinking that maybe because they had the World Cup, that maybe that was just too crowded of a year. And so
I
next year,
mean, it's certainly a reasonable thought, but no, I think this is more like the course for now, at least, is similar to WFTDA. There will be a champs, like a true champs, every 2 years, and then we'll have, at least in MRDA's case, we'll have a cup um, every other year. So we'll still crown, champions each year, but some will be champs and others will be hemisphere champs. But all good.
And there's still a bunch of tournaments still this year and everything
So
that's
many.
going on. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that, we're just in June, and usually June is the time when we start going into all the playoffs and
I
everything.
think, don't quote me on this, but I think either May 31st or the end of this month are like the cutoffs for games to pick like the rankings for who ends up in these, in these hemisphere cups. So we'll see how it all shakes out. And then there's always the teams that might not be able to make it, so they decline. So then somebody else kind of squeaks in and so on. So, we'll see of the teams who do get the invite, who can make it and so on.
There we go. So
It's
that's, yeah,
always fascinating,
it is.
definitely. Always interesting to see how things shake out. And, there's, a lot of good derby going on. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see how things shake out.
Definitely, definitely. So that's, and yeah, that's is an exciting time of year. So,
100%. Yeah, we got all the cups going on. We're almost getting there. We're going to figure out or we've got all the regionals going on. We're going to figure out who's going to make it to champs here.
yeah,
I'm excited to see like how Dallas, right? I think it's Dallas Derby Devils, how they're gonna put this whole event on. You're gonna have so much Derby in one weekend and good for them for having several teams and multiple people and so on. So
yeah.
I hope it works out, but I think it is going to be a big lift. So
I was almost tempted to put in for the announcing, and I didn't just because I don't know. I mean, I would, maybe if I mean, it's tough, like
a
you
lot
said.
of time and money.
Yeah, we're
I
all
mean,
doing
we
it.
were just talking about it. We only talked like we really just only mentioned the officials, but that doesn't count all volunteers. Some medics travel
No,
and want to be a part of it that way. Other people are doing announcing and so on. So
yeah.
yeah, it is definitely not just the officials who feel the pain of all this travel and so on. So.
Maybe I would suggest in the future, there's no way to do it, but if they could sort of compensate a little bit, it might make it a little bit more, interesting, or make it more of a chance you might want to put in. Because I would have loved to gone to Lansing last weekend. It's just unfortunately with my job, it's tough to get time off, especially this time of year. So, but you know what,
Gonna
Waterloo,
say, well, it can't be too tough. Your year rolls around in July. What do you mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Well,
got
no,
those students too.
no, that's true. That's true. But that's, later. Yeah, who knows? I mean, but I just get excited for, like, yeah, that tournament is going to be something special because they're both stocking they're separately. It looks like their officials and everything. So it's we'll see how
That's
that works.
fascinating.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. I mean, because yeah, that definitely will be interesting. But it's exciting because it's like there's just so much action going on. And the funny thing is, all these other teams are still playing when the tournaments are going on. So I've seen like a lot of
Oh, sure.
yeah, a lot of stuff going on. So but you know it's we're I'm excited for this weekend. It's like I get to see some friends, and I probably hopefully don't stick my foot in my mouth and freaking get banned. No,
Sure, yeah,
that
cross
shouldn't
your
happen.
fingers.
That shouldn't happen. I think that
No, no, you've been pretty good.
yeah, it's but I mean
Not too many talkings too.
no, not too many, not too many. Now announcing at least,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
but
let's talk about it a little bit before we get into our weeks. Why don't we'll wrap up with our weeks this time. Why don't you let's talk about the schedule and how
okay.
it all shakes out and tell me let's talk about like the first day matchups and then
Okay.
why don't you tell us a bit about your schedule?
Okay, so the first day matchups, it'll be this Friday, and the first game is at 10 a.m. That
Ugh.
will be Orlando versus the Angel Rocket Queens, Angel City coming, and that will be the first game. It's at 10 o'clock. Next game is the Montreal Sexpos versus Vancouver. Vancouver, I know like a few people from each of these teams, so I'm excited about that. Then we have Connecticut versus Santa Cruz. And Connecticut, I remember they came into Rochester a couple of years ago and just stomped the Rock City Roller Derby at RIT. They're a very good team. And then these are the only ones scheduled so far because the teams that win these do carry on. And
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the first day is really the only one that gets scheduled because it
yeah.
all just depends on who wins and loses.
So then one of my favorite named teams of all time is in the last game that's scheduled, SoCal versus Braden Tucky. Okay. And then there's two more games after that, and that would be Calgary. There's two Calgary teams. Oh, wait a second. No, there's not. That Calgary game. I'll see, I'm looking at it and I'm seeing the schedules a little bit different. The Calgary Oh no, I didn't mention Calgary. Calgary will be playing the winner of game one. So the winner
Yeah,
between
there's like four teams that get a bye, right?
yeah, Calgary, Queen City, Montreal Skids, and Tri City. And so, but there'll be two games at the end of the day that will have the winners from the earlier games. So Calgary at 6 o'clock is taking on the game one winner between Orlando and Angel City, and Queen City is playing the 8 o'clock game against the winner of game two, the Sexpos in Vancouver. And I believe Queen City played the Sexpos recently. So, and then
Are
though,
you thinking of last year, maybe?
no, was it last year? I'm trying to remember. I thought that they had played them. I was talking with somebody about it at the when Rock City played Queen City a couple weeks ago, and I thought maybe it was last year. Uh,
I know they played them in I want to say that I think the second round last year too. Queen City played them because Queen City didn't have the bye last year, so they were the team that went on in the first round to play Montreal in the second round.
Interesting. So yeah, that's very interesting because oh, so hold on before I forget the games I'm going to be doing. I'll be doing the venue call on the first game. So you won't hear me on the stream. And then the third game, I'm doing the venue call. And not only me, we have some talented announcers that I'm scared. I'm of course very worried about my uh,
Sure.
the imposter syndrome. The fourth game, the Braden Tucky SoCal, I'm going to be actually producing the stream, so I'll be doing like feeding stats to people.
Right.
And then the last game of the day, I'm doing the stream. That's Queen City versus whoever wins game two. So that's the only thing that's actually on the paper for schedules because the our head announcer PR Mageddon is going to, and he's from New Orleans. He does the on the fly the second day and the third day for the announcers. So, which is always it's fun. And I did that once in the Lansing playoffs. I did back in like I think it was 2016, and I actually benefited from that because I got more games after the first day than I did the first day. So hopefully I do a good job and I'll get a bunch of
Oh, I'm
high
sure you'll do
profile.
just fine, my man.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, so
Good.
that's and that's like I've seen a bunch of these teams before, so I'm familiar with a bunch of them. So I'm super kind
Yeah.
of excited. I actually have they have a sports book, and I went and printed it up, and I put it in a folder, and it has every team. It has like everybody on the teams, and like
Nice.
pronouns
You
and
like printed
everything.
the charters and stuff like that.
Yep, I got them all. So it's like I actually was going through and making sure I could announce the names of everybody who's playing. That because that's usually one of
That
the
that
ones.
usually gets us. I'm not gonna lie. You
Yeah.
are correct.
Yeah, so that's Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, all bets are off when we'll be on. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see Too Slim. Slim's going to be one of the announcers. He hasn't announced in years, and he's coming back to do it
Nice.
as well as there's a Biff Mix-a-Lot will be coming. He did the announcing last weekend as well, and he's somebody I announced the what was it called? Show Us Your Tukes tournament I did there back in I think 2019. So it's like, and he also did the D2s in Pittsburgh. So there's a lot of guys that I've kind of done stuff with before. So I'm very excited. But it's like it's interesting because I don't think we have like the biggest announcer crew. We have a very adequate one, and it's not like there's not too many extra people. So we're all going to have to be on our game, and we will be, and I'm excited about it. So we
Yeah,
will have.
good. I'm glad you're doing it. I know you've been, itching to do some postseason stuff and get out there and
Yeah.
get after it really. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. I'm happy for you.
I just dive right into that imposter syndrome and see. see how
You'll
quickly I shake it
fine.
off. But I did it. Every year it seems like whenever the first game comes along, it's like I feel that way until I get out there, and then it's like boom, and it all comes back.
Oh
So
yeah, of course. I mean, it's you get a bit nervous or you got to shake that ring rust off kind of thing
yeah,
and get back after it.
yeah, and you know me, I talk too much, so it's like
Well, speaking of talking, we've gone nearly 40 minutes now. Do you want to touch on our weeks before we talk this whole show away?
yeah, yeah. Let's do that. I'll start with
Well, let me ask, what of the matchups that you know,
yeah.
and your first day, do you have a game that you're most excited to call?
Well, I mean, I like being on the stream, and so that will be the last game of the day. It'll be 8 o'clock game, so it'll be at the very end of the day. But I'm like kicking off the venue with the game number one, so I'm excited. I've two teams I've never called before, Orlando and Angel City. So,
Yeah, very cool.
so that that's I'm
Is
excited
Freight
about that.
Train playing for Angel City? Who is Freight Train with these
Freight
days?
Train was with Angel City. I don't know. I didn't see Freight Trains on the roster, so this might be Angel City's Bees, maybe. I'm not absolutely sure because it's
Or is
the
Freight
Angels.
Train with Dallas again?
Oh,
I don't
damn.
know.
Well, I know that. Yeah, obviously, Freight Train was with
Well, with Austin for
yeah.
MRDA, I'm talking WIFTDA.
I know that Freight Train played with Angel City this year, so
But I guess you can be like dual rostered too. So
yeah.
I don't, yeah, is that like, I don't know. I don't know at all,
I did
really.
not see Freight Train's name. I actually went through when I was doing all the, practicing, and I did not see Freight Train on there. So I don't know, maybe Freight Train. But like I said, this could be Angel City's Bees because they're very low ranked.
I
Uh,
gotcha.
yeah, because
Yeah, maybe for this region, then I don't know.
they're
Can
called the
can we
Rocket
play
Queens.
in different regions?
They're seed number 10. So that's why I'm thinking, I I could be wrong. So, but it's
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter. Nevertheless, that's the game that kicks it all off. And if I'm going to be excited about anything, that'll be it. And that's the arena. And so the arena, if you've been watching any of these playoffs, not a lot of people in the crowd. Because it's obviously playoffs, and if you're going to bring anybody with you, it's on their dollar too. And so who
Yeah.
wants so we'll see how the crowd is. I remember when I was at Penn State and we were doing the North American qualifiers there, and it was like really wasn't a lot of people in the crowd, until the to very end, until it came down to like all the teams that were already eliminated, and we were getting to like the one versus two seed or whatever. Then everybody was in the crowd, but there was earlier in the games on.
Yeah, I think it's tough sell to get people like really involved on like day one, especially if you're
Yeah.
just there as like um as a skater. You've got your own stuff to worry about. You're getting trying to get dialed in and things like that. So,
Yeah.
maybe you're not sitting down and enjoying as many games as you might if it were, just a different tournament or something like that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely. Yeah, and so yeah, and that's I think so I'm gonna be so maybe you'll hear a little echo of me on the stream, maybe not, who knows? But I'm excited, still excited about getting to do two games on the venue and one on the stream. So, and
Sure.
I get a game off like every other game, so I'm very very good
Yeah,
with
it's
that.
awesome. Glad that you don't have to do them all like some other times or,
Yeah,
doing ton back to back or working entirely by yourself and so on.
certainly. So, but yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Now I'm gonna get to my week. Is okay,
Sounds great.
a
What's
little
been
bit.
going
So
on, man? I
so
also I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. What's been going on?
I don't know. I know. Did you get to watch the WWE pay-per-view
I haven't gone back and watched it yet.
Saturday afternoon? There was one Saturday afternoon.
It was, yeah.
But beyond that, nothing super exciting. I know that I think last time we were on, I talked about selling beer at the Red Wings games. That
Yeah,
was a few weeks ago. I've had some stuff in my, personal life. My mom's in a hospital, and it's my brother was in the hospital not too long ago either. So it seems like I've had a lot of issues with family members, not doing so well. My mom's 91, so it's like it's kind of tough. But that and work is a lot. We'll say right now
sure.
it's there's I've been doing it few multiple nights a week just so that I can cover my bills and things like that. So I'm still, it's like right now I'm at my house, and I just can't help but think about my dog that passed away as well. So I know we talked about it
Mm.
before that Tara.
Oh, dude, it sucks. I miss my dogs and stuff all the time, dude. I literally was just hanging out with the kid and Jennifer the other day, and I started crying because I miss Loki and would have loved for him to be able to meet Anderson.
Yeah.
And it would have been great to have like my two little babies together, but you know, it's okay. You don't have to not be sad or whatever. Yeah, there's not like a right or wrong amount of time to have passed for you to
Yeah.
feel better about it or whatever, you know?
A lot of triggers, a lot of triggers happen,
Of
you'll see
course.
something and be like, boom. So, and, I'm not ready for another animal yet, but it may happen, I might
Yeah.
do a rescue because I don't know if being a, single
Hard
and
to train like a pup and in
yeah,
the
when you're only
school.
one person living in a
Yeah,
house. So it's like, so
totally.
we'll see when we get to that. But beyond that, I don't know. We're coming to the end of the school year, so I'm really excited. I had some really busy days in the past couple of weeks that usually things I fear, but I don't fear anymore because, I let work is good. I mean, it's good to be busy because man, not being busy really stinks. So, and I'm looking
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's better busy than bored, right?
that's for sure. I'm looking forward to summer coming up, even though I do work in the summer, but it's like not nearly as stressful.
Yeah, not as pressure filled,
I am going to
deadline kind of thing.
I'm going to Darien Lake to see Triumph. I think that would be tomorrow night. So
Sure.
I'm excited
What time are
about
you
that.
going, do you
Uh,
think?
I think I'm going to 5:30 is when I'm supposed to meet the person who's coming with me at the park and go. So I should be there by like 6:30, I'm
I
guessing.
gotcha. All right.
Yeah. So, but are you going to work? Are you working that night?
Yeah, I am. I don't have to be there until 6:30, so it's a little bit later of a day for me. So I was just seeing when you were headed out there. I was gonna maybe see if you wanted to drive together, but it sounds like you got somebody meeting you out there, so no worries.
Yeah, so I know, and I didn't even know I really had the tickets because I'd won them on another radio station in town here, and they emailed me the thing like last week, and I didn't see it. It went to my junk folder, and it's like
Uh-oh.
I was worried that they weren't going to give them to me. It's like it wouldn't have killed me because it's like I wouldn't. I'd be honest with you, I wouldn't pay for it to go, but I'll get a free ticket. You bet.
Sure.
So
Who you going with?
Chunk
Ah, sure.
Chunkendale,
Yeah.
former skating ref with Rock City.
Sure.
Yeah, we tried
Yeah.
to get him on the Flower City Fear. He just didn't. He didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I get it. It's not
Yeah,
for everybody.
yeah.
Work.
But yeah, so that's about the most exciting thing besides this weekend and weekend. And I'm excited about that. I can't, and then we'll see how I am Sunday when I get back. So it'll be like either I'll be pooped or it'll be
Well,
like
yeah, just make sure you're
invigorated.
taking care of yourself and you don't sit at the venue waiting for somebody to need something from you. Like
Yeah,
leave, make sure you're eating, get some fresh air. Don't keep your, monkey suit on all day.
sure. Yeah. In fact, we have some interesting announcer themes that yeah, I'm not going to tip off to what they are because people will see them when they're on TV or whatever. So,
Sure,
but
but it's gonna get you out of your gimmick, it sounds like.
yeah, I get to bust out something I haven't worn since I had it for the Flower City Fear, and I'll just give you a hint. It's a material that you wear as pants as well.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's about it. How about you? How's that little baby doing? I've seen.
He's awesome, dude. He's so
Yeah.
big. He's just crawling and walking everywhere. It's crazy. We can literally like just let him be like a real life human now. It's pretty unbelievable. Um, really fun, a ton of fun. We're just doing a ton all the time. He recently went to his like first birthday party. He got invited to a birthday party for another little baby.
Oh,
So
nice.
we went and did that and had some fun. We went and did some swimming the other day. We went back to the community center where we had his birthday, and he is like a big old crazy baby. He like dives in head first now and starts swimming. He could walk right into the water. It was pretty unbelievable. We literally got there and like set him down and he just started to walk right in and then like literally like did like a surface dive. It was really cool. Really horrifying all at the same time. Um, but no, it's just so much fun being that dude's dad. It's really cool. Um, a lot of work otherwise. Working at the bowling alley has been a ton of fun and fascinating. I am not much into the world of bowling, so learning about, scratch bowling and no tap and this tournament and the 369 game and all this other stuff and things like that. It has been a lot of fun. And it's really low pressure. It's a bowling alley, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So It's not like people are out clubbing on a Friday night waiting to get a drink four deep at the bar or anything like that. So, yeah, really cool getting to meet some fascinating people. This is the first year that they are hosting the Lilac tournament, which is the second biggest amateur tournament in the United States. Um, so it goes pretty much all summer long. It started in May. It'll go till I think the first week in July. So we get a lot of people in there, a lot going on. So that's fascinating. Having a good time doing that. Darien Lake started up this past Friday, I think it was, with Hardy, um, a country artist, kind of country, kind of rock. Does a little bit of both. He's done like some WWE stuff.
Yep.
Pretty popular fella, relatively famous, so that is pretty cool as well. Um, yeah, I don't know, lots of good stuff. We did the zoo. We got our family pass to the zoo, so we met the Drops out there and had a nice time with Mike Drop, Melissa, and Maya. Um, we went to the baseball game the other day and we got to meet Kevin Nash, which was really cool. I'm sorry you weren't able to join us, so I'm not trying to rub it in, but we did have a nice time. It was a little bit of a weird scenario, I will say. They had two signings, so he did like 6:15 to 6:50, took a little break to do like an on-field interview, and then came back and then was doing like 7:05 to 7:50. So two separate sessions, but he got back and did the second signing a little bit earlier than 7:05, and then he had other stuff. They tried to like take him upstairs and parade him around to the VIPs and the people in the suites and stuff like that. So the security guard that was there like really cut the line off kind of early, and it was like 7:10 and he's like, "Yeah, we're not letting any more people in line." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like it's 7:10 sort of thing, and
Yeah.
whatever." But ultimately we ended up being one of the last people that they let go through because there was additional time. And this was really cool. I think we were the second to last group that they let in. Um, and for me, it was huge, big Kevin Nash fan. For those of you that don't know, he was Super Shredder in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. I'm equal opportunity wrestling and a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. So I used my time to have him sign Turtles toys and talk to him about TMNT because I assumed he spent his hours there talking about pro wrestling. And I wanted to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And he actually told us a really cool story about how he ended up meeting like the directors and the producers, and he followed random men back to their hotel room. And this was in like 1990, when they had talked to him about being a part of the movie. They wanted somebody else who ended up getting injured, and him being a very big, imposing kind of guy, got the job. But he told me this really cool story about how somebody called him by his actual name. And back then, he thought he was getting in some type of trouble because nobody actually knew his name because he was a pro wrestler mostly, and kayfabe was a thing and the internet didn't exist. So somebody actually knowing his real human name was a shock to him, and he ended up whatever, blah blah blah, gets a card, then ends up eventually following these guys back to the hotel room where he ultimately gets like molded and fitted for the Super Shredder helmet. So while everybody was getting, a minute or two of a conversation and a handshake, I got like 5 minutes of really cool conversation. He seemed excited to talk about it. Yeah, it's just a really cool overall experience.
Yeah.
I have he's such a sharp guy. It was really cool. So I have this toy here, kind of hard to see because of my zoom features, but this is a Nickelodeon NECA um 2015 European Super Shredder blah 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 reissue.
Okay.
And he actually knew that it was the European and so on and blah blah blah. But yeah, actually he got him to sign it on the inside here. Let me see if I can well, maybe you can see it a
I
little
sort of
bit.
can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, he whatever. He autographed it right on the plastic for me. It's got like almost like a casing to it or like a flap on the front.
Yeah.
That when you open it, it reveals the figure. He actually signed right on the plastic here, like a really great autograph too. I brought my own markers because I knew what I wanted. And then I had him sign a Funko too, because that is another thing that I collect. So, and it was surprisingly affordable, I will say. It was like for the meet and greet, a picture and two autographs, it was $65.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, where like what? It was like 40 bucks just for a picture with Jerry Lawler, which I get, he's the king, blah blah blah, but 65 bucks for a meet and greet, 5 minutes of conversation and two autographs, I thought was really damn reasonable. Where I spent, I think it was at least 160 for a combo autograph and picture with Kit, Knight Rider, and Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World. So,
Wow.
um,
So,
yeah, very affordable, very affordable.
let me tell you a real quick story about Kevin Nash.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
So Kevin Nash, I do obviously do a wrestling show too. Back in 1999, they had a pay-per-view in Buffalo. It was called Fall Brawl, and Kevin
Yeah.
Nash was on the show. And he had come to Rochester to a it was a card shop in Grease Ridge Mall, and he did a like a 2 hour signing or something. And we talked to the guys who were on the shop, and he asked Kevin, and he asked Kevin too, well, can we talk to you for like a quick interview? We ended up talking to Kevin for about 30 minutes after he was done doing the signing, took
That's
some pictures
awesome.
with him and stuff like that. But he also, at the time, we did not know he was booking WCW. So he's the one who was booking what was going on. He's the one who like made the decision for Goldberg to lose the streak and things like that. And he told us about, he goes, yeah, I've got the book. I've been doing it. And so I didn't know that. I didn't realize that's a pretty powerful person to talk to in a company that was
Oh,
that big,
definitely.
but he also told Hulk Hogan about the show because he had told Hogan about the radio show, though Hulk Hogan never came on, but Hulk Hogan had said that Kevin Nash had told him about us. So Kevin Nash passed the good word on about us too. And he was a good guy and he was awesome. And I always thought he didn't have to do any of the stuff we asked him to do. And he did. And it was just, he had some knee problems. This guy had knee problems. He's had like, I think
Oh, sure.
he had a hip replacement like a year ago because his one leg was like 3 inches longer than the other leg. Yeah, he had to wrestle like that for years with a lot longer leg. He's a definitely a quality guy. I'm glad you got a chance to meet him. I was kind of excited because I wanted to go. I ended up having to work that night. I would definitely have gone and like tried to see if he remembered us because I posted a picture on my Facebook page of him, my son, me, and another guy from the show, and it's like he didn't look like he aged a day, except for he doesn't have that long hair anymore. But he
I
just
mean, his hair is still pretty long.
was it.
I mean, it's like tamed, but you could tell that like he could grow it back out. He's not balding by any means. He's still a good looking fella.
He's a
He's
good
got
guy.
like he's got like the mullet thing sort of going, but
Yeah.
like a trimmed mullet. But yeah, handsome fella, good guy. Really awesome conversation. He like didn't shoo us away. We got to do like the too sweet thing with him, which was so freaking cool, man. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like the one of the original NWO. Like how freaking cool,
He
man.
was the biggest. I mean, he was part of the biggest thing that was going on in the business
Yeah.
when them and WWE were pulling numbers that they wish they could get close to nowadays.
Yeah, I
He,
mean, if you look at some of the things that he's been involved with, I mean, the click at Madison Square Garden,
oh yeah,
he did like the finger poke of death with Hogan.
yeah,
Um, I mean, he is partially responsible for the collapse of WCW. And
yep,
I mean that with love. Like I still care and respect the guy, but they booked that thing into a hole, man.
oh yeah,
It
yeah,
was brutal. And they had a ton of talent and still just put it into the ground. So what a fascinating guy. It was really cool just to talk turtles with him. And yeah, I'm really happy that I got the opportunity to do it. Um, Jennifer was nice enough to take a picture for us, and Anderson was in the picture. So, Anderson, it just gets to meet like all the cool people. He's met Jim Kelly and Kevin Nash now, like a couple of Hall of Famers and a couple of legends,
yeah.
Unbelievable.
That
Anderson
is
gets to do all the cool stuff. He's been down on the Bills field that's being torn up right now and
yeah.
been to some cool places, that's for sure.
That's cool. And the thing is, you won't remember him until when he's 15. You're like, remember this guy? No,
Yeah,
no.
he's not going to remember him even a little bit, but it'll
Yeah.
be cool to be able to share pictures and say, hey, like, you met this guy and he was cool and your dad had a great time.
Yeah, very
So
cool. I think in lieu of us doing an interview on this show, I think we could just,
we
you
could
know,
probably just squeeze some music in. Can you believe it, Cash?
well,
Look at
actually,
us.
I
Awesome.
actually
Like
have
time.
I have some scores I could go through before we get out.
Perfect. Real quick before I wrap up, I do want to say it is Mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. We love you. We appreciate you, Shrema. We gave her a call earlier, and Anderson was like the most perfect amount of like ham bone. He was like smiley and blowing kisses and absolutely made her year. So, happy birthday, Shrema. We love you. Thank you for everything, and thank you for listening to our goofy show.
Yeah. So let me jump into then to some scores, and then we'll just,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll run a tune out of here. But we had the closest bouts from last weekend. We have two games that were decided by 2 points. We had Windy City losing to Minnesota 126 to
Oof. Wow.
124.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
then we had Ohio beating Ann Arbor 121 to 119. And then we had Gotham 113 over Minnesota 106, and that was from the playoffs in Lansing. We had Arch Nemesis beating Ann Arbor 135 to 125, and our friends from Arch are moving on to the champs. They did win they did win there out in Lansing. We also had was it RSRD Capital Defenders beating West Florida 188 to 173. That's 15 points. And then Detroit losing to Boston 153 to 135. That's 18 points. Biggest upsets, we had Dublin beating Aldrich 143 to 120. We had Peninsula beating the SCRD Bad Beats 331 to 63. That's an upset. That's a gigantic upset then. And we had CTRD Yankee Brutals losing to the Scream Queens 151 to 117. And by the way, Black Rose Rollers really showed up at the playoffs in Lansing last
Yeah,
week. And they're like kind of, I feel like they're kind of local. I mean, I see them there.
100%.
They
We
play
see
around
them
here a
quite a
lot.
bit.
Yeah, they play around here a lot. So it was really good to see those. They've been playing so well, so little, so much lately that they're world class, getting up into the world class area. So good, congrats to them. We have the MRDA scores as well. I've got we have Jules Venez. It's from France, 198 over Blackland, 78. We had ground control 202 over Casco Bay, 63. Southern Discomfort 319 over Brummies, 108. And we had the quad guards. I don't have the score. I can't tell what it is, but it was 453-point difference between
Yikes.
Borderland Bandits scored 10. So we add 10 to that, and that's what the quad guards did. That's crazy, you know.
Yeah, that's wild.
That
That's a hell of a score. But yeah, I mean, as hard as it is for some of us here in the States, I will say it's probably just as hard, if not harder, for some of our friends overseas. So, just keep pushing, keep fighting.
yeah. It's it's keep let's see them. Yeah, keep fighting, keep sticking it up because you will do. You keep up, you keep practicing, and you're just
Right?
gonna
You'll
get
catch
better.
up eventually, right? Iron sharpens iron.
That's right. That's right. So it's what a great week, and then hopefully we'll have some great scores. Hopefully we'll be able to get a show in next week because I really want to do the interview with Steel Hurton
Sure.
that we were going to do that we wanted to do before they come to play Rock City, and they're playing Rock City on the 13th, which is a week from Saturday, and so we have to get together sometime next week. But I'll send an email feeler out to them see if they want because they
Yeah,
didn't
see if
want to
there's a
come.
day that works better for them or something like that.
Without a doubt, but I think that's all the news and all the sayings I've got for today. Do you have anything else you want to?
Perfect.
Yeah,
Nah,
anything?
that's really it, man. Just again, happy birthday to mom. I love you, brother. Good
Happy
luck this
birthday,
weekend.
Donna.
I'm thinking about you, thinking of Mama Cash and
Yeah,
all that good stuff. Fingers crossed. Let us know if you need anything, all right, man?
I definitely will. I definitely will, and I appreciate it, and thank you for the support.
Of
And
course. Ooh.
that's hopefully I can get lost in Derby this weekend. I think I will.
Yeah, go have some fun. I think you deserve it.
There we go. So, you guys,
All right, brother. Let's go ahead and get out of here. We'll see you guys soon. You're listening to Derby Rocks. We'll catch you next time.